There comes a time in every trader's journey when something quietly shifts. It's not some dramatic movie moment with loud music or fireworks. It's subtle. It's a small click in your mind. And in that moment, you stop fighting the market. You stop forcing trades to work. You stop trying to bend the market to your will. Instead, you begin to watch it calmly, without tension, without panic. That's the first real sign that you're evolving into a profitable trader. In the beginning, everything feels messy and overwhelming. You open your charts and suddenly see opportunities everywhere. Every candle looks important. Every move feels like a signal. Every red bar feels like danger. Your emotions are all over the place. One minute you're excited, the next you're scared. Your confidence jumps when you win and crashes hard when you lose. It feels like you're chasing something you can't fully control. But as you start becoming consistent, that chaos slowly fades. The noise quiets down. You notice that you're no longer reacting emotionally to every small price movement. You stop staring at your screen with your heart racing. You stop refreshing MT4 or TradingView every few seconds, hoping your trade turns green. Instead, you pause. You breathe. You trust your setup. You allow the trade to breathe as well. You begin to understand that the market isn't against you. It's simply moving. And your job isn't to fight it, but to move with it. This shift from chaos to clarity is the true foundation of profitability. And the funny thing is, you might not even notice it happening at first. It sneaks up on you. One day, you realize you haven't revenge traded in a long time. You notice that when a trade goes slightly against you, you don't panic. You might even smile when someone in your trading group brags about flipping $100 into $1,000 overnight. Because deep down, you already know how those stories usually end. A profitable trader doesn't chase trades. They attract opportunities through patience, structure, and process. You start seeing trading like farming. You plant your setups carefully. You water them with discipline. And you harvest profits when the time is right. You no longer feel the need to trade every single candle. You understand that sometimes, the best trade is no trade at all. As you move closer to profitability, your charts start to look cleaner too. You delete half your indicators. You stop jumping from one strategy to another. Instead, you focus on structure, price action, and psychology. Your setups become simple, yet powerful, because your mind is no longer cluttered. You finally realize something important: simplicity makes money, not complexity. Another major shift happens with your trading journal. It stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like a mirror. You actually look forward to reviewing your trades, because now you want to understand yourself better. You analyze your mistakes without shame. You begin to notice patterns in your behavior, not just in price. You can tell when you'll trade well, because you understand which emotional state leads to success. You also realize that being a profitable trader isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. You still take losses, but they don't define you anymore. A losing day no longer makes you question your ability. Instead, you review, adjust, and move forward. Losses become data, not disaster. This new mindset starts showing up in your everyday life too. You become calmer outside of trading. You stop rushing decisions. You begin managing money more responsibly. You start to understand that trading isn't just about making money. It's about mastering patience, focus, and emotional control, skills that change you far beyond the charts. One subtle but powerful sign that you're becoming profitable is how you handle boredom. New traders crave excitement. They want the rush of entering trades, watching every tick, feeling alive with every move. But professional traders crave boredom. Because boredom means discipline. It means the process is working. There's no drama anymore. No emotional spikes. Just calm execution and steady results over time. You also stop seeking external validation. You don't feel the need to post profits on social media or impress others. You trade quietly, satisfied with your progress. You might even stop telling people you trade at all. Because it's no longer about ego. It's about mastery. A profitable trader seeks peace, not attention. Another big sign is that you stop fearing missed opportunities. You understand the market will always move. There will always be another setup. You no longer feel that painful sting when price runs without you, because you know chasing only leads to emotional exhaustion. You learn that patience, not prediction, is your real edge. Before we go deeper, let me ask you something. Are you struggling with fear, doubt, or overtrading? The truth is, most traders don't fail because of bad strategies. They fail because of bad psychology. That's exactly why I created my ebook, Master Your Mind, Master Your Trades. It's filled with practical steps to help you control emotions, stay disciplined, and trade like a professional. If you're ready to level up your trading, check the link in the description and pinned comment, and grab your copy today. Now let's continue. Another change happens in how you talk to yourself. In the beginning, your inner voice is harsh. You criticize yourself after every mistake. You call yourself stupid after losses. But as consistency grows, that voice softens. You start treating yourself like a coach instead of a critic. You talk through trades calmly, using logic instead of emotional blame. You realize that the way you speak to yourself directly affects how you trade. This mental calm creates something beautiful, flow. You begin trading with quiet confidence. You're not guessing anymore. You're executing. You're not trying to prove anything. You're simply following your edge. Day after day. And even when trades don't go your way, you trust that your system will deliver over time. Because you've seen it work enough times to believe in it deeply. The biggest difference between a losing trader and a profitable one isn't strategy. It's psychology. A losing trader reacts. A winning trader responds. A losing trader acts from emotion. A winning trader acts from process. A losing trader sees every trade as a battle. A winning trader sees the market as a marathon. As you become profitable, you stop trying to predict and start trying to align. You respect the market's rhythm. You wait for it to come to you. And when it does, you execute without hesitation, because fear is gone, replaced by confidence built from experience. The truth is, trading mastery doesn't come from reading more books or buying more courses. It comes from failing enough times to realize that the only thing you can truly control is yourself. The market is just a mirror. It reflects your habits, your fears, and your beliefs. Once you master those, profits follow naturally. So if you've noticed that you're calmer while trading, if losses no longer break you, if you're less focused on being right and more focused on being consistent, congratulations. You're no longer gambling. You're no longer chasing. You're becoming what most people never do, a trader who understands that wealth is built on mindset, not luck. The chaos has faded. And in its place, you found clarity. And from that clarity, everything starts to compound. Your confidence, your discipline, and eventually, your account balance. This is the beginning of your transformation. The first chapter in your evolution from an emotional trader to a consistent professional. Because in the end, profitability isn't a destination. It's a mindset. And once it clicks, you'll never see the market the same way again. Every trader dreams of the day when trading stops feeling like an emotional storm. The day they can look at a losing trade and feel nothing but calm acceptance. That transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow, often painful process, but it's necessary. Because before you ever master the market, you must master your emotions. Most traders don't lose money because they lack knowledge. They lose because they lack emotional discipline. They know the setups. They've watched the videos. They've studied the charts. But when real money is involved, emotion hijacks logic. Fear, greed, hope, and frustration become their trading system. But as you evolve, those emotional spikes start fading. You stop chasing adrenaline. You stop craving fast profits. You begin viewing trades through probability, not emotion. You understand that one trade doesn't matter. What matters is the series, the process, the long-term consistency. That's when you start thinking like a professional. You stop asking, how much can I make today? And start asking, how well can I execute my plan today? Losses stop triggering panic. You don't question your identity anymore. You step back, analyze, and learn. Losses become tuition, not something to fear, but something to study. Your relationship with winning changes too. Wins no longer inflate your ego. Losses no longer crush your confidence. Both are just outcomes of a system. This emotional neutrality is a powerful sign of maturity. But reaching this level isn't easy. It takes pain. Blown accounts. Sleepless nights. Moments when quitting feels easier. Every profitable trader has been there. The difference is, they learned instead of running. Like steel, a trader must pass through fire to become strong. Those who quit during the fire never get forged. But those who stay become disciplined, calm, and resilient. You stop needing motivation. You wake up ready to execute. Trading becomes performance, not excitement. Risk becomes a respected partner, not an enemy. You stop over-leveraging because breaking rules now feels uncomfortable. You manage emotions the same way you manage capital, with patience and control. You step away after losses. You reset. You wait. That emotional control is what separates professionals from gamblers. You also start thinking long-term. You stop chasing fast results. You focus on compounding. And finally, you let go of hope. Hope used to keep you stuck in losing trades. Now, you act instead of wishing. You cut losses quickly, without hesitation. Because you understand something deeply now. Hope is the most expensive emotion in trading. And the moment you can take a loss calmly and move on, that's one of the clearest signs you've truly become a professional. You reach a point where being right no longer matters. What matters now is protecting your capital. You stop judging success by how much money you make, and instead, you judge it by how well you protect your account. This emotional growth also changes how you handle drawdowns. In the past, a series of losses would crush your confidence. You would fall into doubt, questioning your strategy, your skills, and even whether trading was really for you. But now, you react in a completely different way. You see drawdowns as feedback, not failure. You understand that even the best traders in the world go through losing periods. Instead of giving up, you lean harder into discipline. You reduce your position size. You stick to your rules. You stay patient and ride out the storm. You stop letting emotions control your mood for the day. You stop carrying trading stress into your personal life. When you close your laptop, your mind feels light. You're no longer replaying trades in your head, thinking, what if I entered again, or what if I held longer? You've learned how to separate the market from your mental space, and that separation gives you peace, a rare thing for traders. This inner peace becomes one of your strongest advantages. When your mind is calm, you see opportunities more clearly. You don't rush. You don't chase. You simply act when the moment is right. The market rewards calm minds and punishes emotional ones. And you finally learn how to stay calm even when everyone else is losing control. You also become more honest with yourself. You stop blaming brokers, spreads, or news events. You stop making excuses. You take full responsibility for every result in your trading. That level of accountability changes everything. It turns you into a professional. Because now, you're in control. You finally understand that you can't fix what you refuse to take ownership of. Another big emotional milestone is when you stop needing to feel right. Before, being wrong felt like failure. You wanted to prove yourself. You wanted to show that you could predict the market. But profitable traders don't care about being right. They care about managing money. When they're wrong, they exit quickly. When they're right, they let the trade run. Their ego no longer makes decisions, their plan does. Over time, your emotions begin to align with logic. You feel uncomfortable when you break your rules. And you feel satisfied when you follow them, no matter the outcome. That's how you know you've reached emotional alignment. Discipline no longer feels forced. It feels natural. Even your body reacts differently. Before, you would sweat when price moved against you. Your heart would race as price approached your stop loss. Now, your body stays relaxed. You've trained your nervous system through repetition, control, and experience. The market no longer controls your body. Your mind does. It's an incredible transformation. You go from being emotionally scattered, reacting to every tick, to being calm and composed, observing, analyzing, and executing with precision. You stop gambling and start operating like a risk manager. You begin thinking like a professional who understands control and responsibility. And that's the core of emotional mastery. Control. Not control over the market, but control over yourself. Because in trading, the trader who controls their emotions controls their account. The trader who controls their reactions controls their results. Emotional mastery doesn't mean removing emotion completely. It means managing it. You can't trade without emotion, but you can trade without letting emotion run the show. You start using emotions as signals. Fear tells you you're overexposed. Greed warns you that you're about to break your rules. Calmness tells you that you're aligned. That's what separates consistent traders from everyone else. They don't fight emotions. They understand them. They don't chase excitement. They chase control. They don't react to the market. They respond with clarity and precision. So when you notice that you're no longer panicking during drawdowns, no longer overly excited by wins, and no longer rushing into every market move, pay attention. You're changing. You're evolving. You're becoming emotionally strong. And that's one of the clearest signs that you're crossing the line from being a dreamer to being a real trader. The chaos inside you has turned into calm. Fear has turned into focus. The market hasn't changed, you have. And that right there is the emotional foundation of consistent profitability. At some point in your journey, something clicks. You stop seeing trading as a guessing game and start seeing it as a serious business. You no longer wake up chasing setups. You wake up preparing for opportunity. Your mindset shifts, from emotional to strategic, from impulsive to intentional. This shift, the birth of the strategic mind, is what separates consistently profitable traders from everyone else. When you first start trading, you rely on luck, gut feelings, and excitement. You enter trades because you feel something. You exit because you panic or hit some random number. But as you mature, that randomness fades. You realize your job isn't to predict the market, but to respond with structure when your edge appears. That's when you begin building a real system. Not just for entries and exits, but for how you think. You start defining what type of trader you are. Momentum. Breakouts. Reversals. Ranges. You stop trying to trade everything and specialize in what fits your psychology. You understand that mastery comes from repetition, not variety. A strategic trader doesn't need fast markets. They need markets that move according to their plan. They know when to act, and when to wait. They understand that doing nothing is also a position. Patience becomes their weapon. You no longer feel the need to trade every hour. You understand that consistency comes from quality, not quantity. You also build strong structure around risk. You stop trading based on confidence and start trading based on rules. Your lot size, stop loss, and target are planned before you enter. You don't move stops emotionally because your ego no longer controls your system. You know exactly how much you're willing to lose before you click buy or sell. That single habit separates professionals from gamblers. Then comes a powerful realization: trading is not about predicting, it's about managing uncertainty. Every trade is uncertain. You can't know what will happen next. But you can control your response. You stop saying, "I think it will go up," and start saying, "If it goes up, I'll do this. If it doesn't, I'll exit." You stop trying to be right and focus on being consistent. The strategic mind thrives on data. You start tracking statistics. Not for fun, but for clarity. Win rate. Risk to reward. Drawdowns. Expectancy. You treat trading like a science experiment. You no longer trust feelings. You trust evidence. This is when confidence becomes logical, not emotional. You're confident because you've tested, tracked, and proven your edge. That confidence doesn't shake easily because it's built on facts, not hope. You also learn how to adapt. The market changes. Conditions shift. What worked before may stop working. Instead of panicking, you observe. You study volatility, liquidity, and sentiment. You adjust without overreacting. You stay humble enough to evolve, but disciplined enough not to reinvent your strategy every week. This adaptability reaches your psychology too. You stop resisting uncertainty. You accept that the market owes you nothing. You stop waiting for perfect setups. You align with probability and accept randomness as part of the process. Your focus shifts. From how much can I make, to how much can I protect? You realize wealth doesn't come from one big trade. It comes from surviving long enough for compounding to work. You begin appreciating small, consistent wins. They represent control. They represent discipline. You stop chasing every move. You're okay missing trades because you know breaking rules hurts more than missing opportunities. You understand the goal isn't to trade more, it's to trade better. You also stop comparing yourself to others. Social media no longer affects you. You understand that every trader has a different system, mindset, and risk tolerance. You stay in your lane because consistency comes from internal discipline, not external validation. You begin thinking in probabilities across hundreds of trades. Single outcomes no longer control your emotions. Losses become data, not personal attacks. You trust your edge to play out over time, and that trust changes everything. Even drawdowns feel different now. You approach them with curiosity instead of fear. You review logs, analyze conditions, and check your behavior. You use drawdowns as tools, not emotional triggers. You become your own coach, constantly refining your process. Boredom also changes meaning. Most traders lose money because they can't sit still. They force trades when nothing is happening. But as a strategic trader, boredom becomes confirmation. It means you're waiting correctly. You understand that real traders are paid to wait, not to click. Your view of luck changes too. You stop blaming luck for losses and praising it for wins. You realize luck exists, but structure reduces its power. Process becomes everything. You grow deeply self-aware. You recognize emotional triggers, performance patterns, and mental weaknesses. You design your trading routine around who you are, not who you wish you were. Your journal becomes a mirror. You track thoughts, emotions, and mindset, not just numbers. You study yourself. And finally, something powerful happens. You detach your identity from results. A bad day doesn't make you a bad trader anymore. At this stage, you're no longer trying to be right all the time. Your main goal now is to protect your capital. You stop judging yourself by how much money you make and start judging yourself by how disciplined you are. You feel proud not when you win big, but when you follow your plan perfectly. Your thinking becomes more strategic, not just in trading, but in life too. You start applying the same discipline to your time, your focus, your habits, and even your health. You realize that trading is really a mirror of how you handle pressure and emotions in general. The patience and risk control that help you stay profitable in the market begin to improve your entire life. Slowly, your mindset shifts. You stop thinking like a small retail trader and start thinking like a portfolio manager. You think about capital preservation, allocation, and exposure. You think about opportunity cost, not just entry signals. You learn when to take risk, when to reduce it, and when to stay completely on the sidelines. You stop reacting emotionally and start acting with intention. But one of the most defining traits of a strategic trader is this: they play the long game. They don't worry about short-term ups and downs. Their goal isn't to win today or tomorrow. Their goal is to stay in the game for years, even decades. They understand that consistency compounds, discipline builds wealth, and time rewards patience. They trade for freedom, not for adrenaline. This mindset keeps them calm, even in chaos. They know that every trade, every day, every week is just a small piece of a much bigger picture. They're not here to prove anything to anyone. They're here to execute, learn, and grow. When you reach this level, trading starts to feel peaceful. The noise fades away. The anxiety disappears. Wins and losses stop controlling your emotions. You simply follow your process and trust that over time, the numbers will work in your favor. That's when you realize something important: you've become a strategist, not just a trader. You think in probabilities. You act with discipline. You manage risk carefully. You stay calm under pressure. That's not luck. That's growth. It's the evolution from chaos to clarity. From reaction to control. From emotion to strategy. At this point, the market no longer feels like an enemy. It becomes a partner, a mirror reflecting your discipline, patience, and self-mastery. That's when you know, deep inside, that you're not just surviving in the market anymore. You're finally thriving. At some point in every trader's journey, you realize your biggest opponent isn't the market. It's you. Not volatility. Not news. Not liquidity. It's the part of you that panics when price moves against you. The part that doubts your plan after a loss. The part that gets greedy after a win. Emotional control is what turns skill into consistency. Without it, even the best strategy will fall apart under pressure. In the beginning, you might think emotions can be removed. You try to suppress fear, ignore frustration, and push greed aside. But over time, you learn the truth. Emotions can't be removed. They can only be managed. The goal isn't to trade without emotion. It's to trade without letting emotions make decisions. You learn to feel everything, but act on nothing impulsively. Look at how most traders behave. They win a few trades, feel unstoppable, increase their risk, and then lose everything. Or they lose a few trades, feel hopeless, doubt their system, and take random trades to recover. This emotional cycle traps most traders. It's not a lack of knowledge, it's a lack of control. Professional traders understand this deeply. They build rules not because they lack confidence, but because confidence alone isn't reliable. They structure their process so emotions don't get the final say. Discipline becomes protection against emotional self-destruction. Emotional mastery is built through repetition and reflection. Every time you feel the urge to act impulsively and choose not to, your discipline grows stronger. Every time you take a loss and stay calm, your mind becomes more resilient. Over time, these moments stack up, slowly transforming your psychology from reactive to stable. You start seeing trading differently. A losing streak no longer feels personal. Losses stop feeling like failure. You understand that consistency doesn't mean never losing. It means staying emotionally steady while losing. The best traders develop emotional neutrality. They don't get overly excited by wins or crushed by losses. Their emotional highs and lows flatten out. Each trade becomes just another execution of a system, not something that defines who they are. This calm neutrality allows them to follow their edge over hundreds of trades without breaking discipline. But reaching this level requires self-awareness. You need to understand how your emotions work. What triggers your frustration? When do you break your rules? How does greed feel in your body? Most traders study charts but never study themselves. That's why they repeat the same emotional mistakes, not because they're careless, but because they're unaware. Emotionally mature traders keep a psychological journal. Not just entries and exits, but thoughts and emotions before, during, and after trades. They write what they felt during drawdowns, what they told themselves, and why they entered. Over time, patterns appear. They notice their worst trades happen after big wins or during boredom. With that awareness, they create rules to protect themselves. For example, they might stop trading after 3 wins in a row. Or limit trading hours to avoid late-night emotional decisions. These rules aren't restrictions. They're freedom. Each rule removes a destructive habit. One of the biggest breakthroughs comes when you stop trying to control the market and focus on controlling yourself. You realize the market doesn't owe you perfect setups. It doesn't care about your plans or emotions. Once that sinks in, you stop fighting reality and start flowing with it. You prepare yourself to handle whatever the market does. This shift, from external control to internal control, is the foundation of emotional mastery. When your peace no longer depends on price movement, you become unshakable. You can lose multiple trades and stay calm. Because you know that if you followed your rules, you did your job. You redefine what winning means. Before, winning meant profit. Now, winning means discipline. Even a losing trade is a win if it was executed correctly. This mindset trains your brain to value process over results. When that happens, emotions lose their power. You also learn to separate yourself from your trades. A trade is not you. A loss doesn't make you a loser. A bad day doesn't mean you're bad at trading. You stop tying your self-worth to results. You see yourself as the operator of a system, not the outcome of each trade. This detachment gives you clarity. You stop taking losses personally. You review mistakes honestly without ego getting in the way. Patience becomes the next level of mastery. Patience isn't just waiting, it's waiting without frustration. You learn to sit through quiet markets without forcing trades. You understand that inaction is part of your edge. Patience also means holding winners long enough. Instead of cutting profits early out of fear, you trust your plan and let trades breathe. You realize that control comes from execution, not constant action. Your relationship with money changes too. You stop focusing on dollar amounts and start thinking in percentages and risk units. You judge trades by alignment with your plan, not by profit size. This protects you from greed and fear. You still feel emotions, but they no longer control you. They become background noise. The journey isn't perfect. You'll still slip up. Still get impatient. Still make mistakes. But each mistake becomes a lesson, not a setback. You forgive yourself and move forward. Because consistency isn't perfection, it's progress. Eventually, you experience something most traders never do. Peace. Trading no longer feels chaotic. You know when to trade, when to stop, and when to rest. You don't chase. You don't panic. You don't force trades. That emotional stability spreads into your daily life. You become calmer, more patient, and more grounded under stress. Because trading has trained your mind to stay composed in chaos. In the end, emotional mastery is the bridge between knowledge and results. It's why two traders with the same strategy get different outcomes. One reacts emotionally and loses. The other stays calm and grows. Same market. Same setup. Different mind. That's the real power of emotional control, the quiet strength behind every consistent trader. It's not about being perfect. It's about being stable, rational, and grounded when the market tests you. And when you reach that level, you finally understand this truth. Trading isn't about controlling outcomes. It's about controlling yourself long enough for probabilities to work in your favor. And that's when consistency becomes inevitable.